Counter breaker, and to that I say, well, it's because I'm adding a couple of mysteries that, well, several mysteries really, that for some reason I didn't rotate in. So at episode 200, as we get Knight Errant Cthulhu, we're also going to be just throwing in another character for the moment. So we're just going to combo break my own character order for the moment, and we'll move on with life. So without further ado, I mean, if I've already played the character before, then just excuse me and do it again. But what are we doing? I think we're on, I don't remember at all. I want to say Knight Errant. No random item stats on. We're doing 3 custom mysteries for sure, and we will get into, I forgot, I think it's Cthulhu? No, it had to be Azal, right? Well, I know it wasn't Zictast. So anyway, as we get into this Azal Knight Errant run with 3 custom mysteries, we have 11 strength, 7 dexterity, 5 perception, 2 knowledge, and 2 charisma. I don't know how much luck, but so I rotated in more mysteries, and each of those mysteries basically has double the chance of appearing because I just made 2 copies of them. So I literally just copy pasted. So we have 2 versions. We have 2 of those mysteries, and if they appear a second time, hey, dexterity, strength, Takshi-san, second encounter, I'm going crazy for a moment, charisma, and light check. So we'll definitely pass the strength check. We're likely to pass the dexterity check, and as for anything else, well, we'll see what happens. We could just run a strength weapon, but let's just, for fun and giggles, let's try to look for the army knife. Afterward, I'll probably work with the hardware store, but hey, we'll see what actually happens. So without further ado, let us see what we have on our plate today. Metamorphosis, ramen, mystery book. Well, the good thing about making a cut is that I will remember, because I can look back at the footage I recorded and see what background stuff I had. The bad news is, I mean, it's the recording is not as fresh, quote unquote fresh, but at least we can get back into it. So, I think I fixed it. I just need to not make copies of the thingamajiggy, the mysteries that I thought I was making. So, let's actually get into Azal Knight Errant, the custom character again. And I think I might just shift the timestamp up because of, well, cutting to the actual run. Knowledge, strength, light, second mystery, charisma, and maybe Takshi-san? But the important thing I wanted to say is that we'll stick with illegal then for the moment. Yeah, rotated out mysteries. Now I don't have a second copy because I was afraid those were crashing it. And if the game still crashes, well, at least it'll be part of the video. So, without further ado, let's actually get into it this time as we get Household Hell, Flood, Rental. Actually, no, we have Frogs, Rental, Postal, and then Household Hell into Bulletin. So for the sake of trying to survive, because I don't remember the mysteries I just added, I know I played a few of them. No, I played all of them once, I think. It's just that I forgot what exactly happens in all of them. I know one of them you break into a nightclub, the other one you do other stuff, but max threat level school, high threat level mansion, and a hospital. But then the police patrols in the forest, because forest is at max threat level, and that's a pretty cool place to put your patrols in. But otherwise, let's fund it up. So 3 custom mysteries, Knight Errant, and a lot of Doom Pain, but I can't really do much more for that. And because of that happening, then I guess we just work with the meat cleaver. And off we go. But yeah, the important thing I wanted to say is that I completely forgot. If you skip to the timestamp, you wouldn't have heard me talk about it, but I completely skipped by a handful of mysteries that I really should have added before even episode 100, but hey, I did me things. So I did rotate out the mini mysteries. I'll just leave it at that. But then added, I think, 5 to 7 mysteries into the main rotation. And if I add any of Haspin's mini mysteries again, as we roll a 12 on dexterity, then I'll probably only include like a few. That way we're not murking up the number of mysteries we have to roll on. Period. That's the end of the sentence. Take a breath in, take a breath out, and find... No, you know what? We'll stick with out of funds. We'll trade off stamina in this case, and we'll see what happens. There was something else I really wanted to talk about. Could talk about game dev stuff. There was something... Oh! the topic of, I guess, playing through a game. So if you didn't already see it, or just on this channel in general, I really like to dig deep into games, let's just say. And by that I mean I play them over and over and over again. This usually means I'm playing games that have a lot of replayability on average, but I understand where the sentiment is coming from. Someone has asked me before in term that, well, Jordan, what if I don't feel... Oh, that, by the way, Bulletin. I think we can just say no and be okay, but... Back on topic. Someone said before, it's like, Jordan, I don't want to play this game anymore because I'm just going to watch you play it. And you know what? I won't say that that won't hurt a game in that instance, but I think on average, like if we're looking at the whole majority of a player base, or prospective players to a video game, specifically a video game, then I don't really think that it hurts you that much. By the way, 2% per ally, and now we have the experience rule. We'll do our best. History Club once? Nope. This is going to be real interesting because I'm pretty sure the mysteries made by this creator, if this is part of the several this person has made, and I'm guessing correctly, I think they have multiple endings, so we're going to see how much pain we're in. But, yeah, on games that are, especially for, at least for World of Horror, I think it should be relatively obvious that basically there's no way that just watching all of my videos will give you that 100% satisfaction. And basically, on average, we'll go to the other side of the scale and say people are probably going to be more likely to purchase World of Horror. Although I don't have that data, so I can't say for sure that's the case. But if you're talking about at least my opinion, I think that's the case. We have the funds, we have the power. By the way, do we have anything we can use? The Occult Diary to decrease Doom. I'm looking at something at the moment because of a thing, but we'll see what happens. I was going to actually do something else for this video, but I'll save it for non-episode 200 because I feel like episode 200 should be a bit cool, I guess. And we did fight something, by the way. So, as we fight the jitteriest scissor lady, and I know that's not a word, I'm specifically saying that to do so. Man, it would have been nice to do a strong. We're still gonna go for it. We have a good chance of hitting this. So we'll take -1 all per 75% chance to do 6 damage. Now, keeping in mind, that was Hasty Aid, Torn Muscle. That's a deal 1 less damage if I recall correctly. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we'll be okay for now, but I do need to get rid of that. That's ending A, right? That's right, also the experience rule. And we just leveled up at the end, so whoopsie-doopsie. Yeah, I should have leveled up earlier. That was my fault. Anywho, 56% Doom on our second mystery. Boy, this really bad. But we'll do our best to survive. I mean, we continue fighting. No reason not to. 2 for each fund, so we definitely want to get rid of this injury. But there are other things to still worry about. Is there any good any other effect there? Plus 1% Doom when investigating. Fair enough. Let's pop the inspiring novel and be on our merry little way. Keeping in mind your occasional reminder that holding onto one fund is usually going to be better for you on a Azal's fund rule. Because you don't want to run into out of funds, and then you're just gonna get forced funds upon you anyway. Yeah, you could just toss them away somewhere, the police station, or no, through the Azal UI. But I would argue that that's still gonna hurt you more, just because you're just straight up taking 5 Doom, 3 Stamina, or 3 Reason. Shrug. So yeah. But yeah, back onto the topic of basically people getting their filling experience. Obviously, that's more the case. It's more the case that people are not going to buy a game if it's it has a linear story with, you know, a certain level of 100% completion. And to that end, you can't really use that argument because pretty much every single piece of medium, really, it doesn't have to be a video game. But in this case, we'll stick with talking about video games for now. In those cases, you could do that for every video game, basically. So, now, is it a market replacement, which is kind of the legal definition that you kind of look for in some cases. It's arguable, but I would say in most cases no. But again, if we're using a specific example, World of Horror specifically cannot give you. It'll give you an experience, but it's not like you're going to be able. Well, actually, you can kind of, but basically think about all the permutations of things that can happen. For example, do arms into scissors into Akamanto, or maybe you do Akamanto into arms into scissors. A player might choose the same thing every time. For example, I'll never choose Akamanto last anymore unless we have 5 bosses in a row, but you're not going to get that experience most likely unless you either ask for it, and even then, the micro decisions you make in the meanwhile are going to be completely different from, well, seeing me make the decisions I make. For example, again, say I take the same mystery in the same spot, or someone says, oh, Jordan, do Akamanto last. Well, if I do Akamanto last, maybe I end up doing something completely different, like I never dodge against Akamanto, whereas you, the viewer, might say, oh, I wonder what would have happened if you dodge. I think there is kind of a thing to say about what happens in a moment and not getting the thing. Also, we forgot to level up again, but hey, fun times ahead. So even, let's assume that we saved 24% Doom. We would still have 67% Doom on our third mystery, which is really, really bad. Now, that's not a defense for me forgetting to do the experience rule, but certainly would have helped out immensely. So for the sake of variety, we'll take frogs. And we're probably going to Doom out here no matter what. Like, just the amount of experience we get is too high. Now, keep in mind, I think I had something in my thing. Never mind, I lied. No, I have the discharge summary. So what I could have, or what I was thinking of doing is basically discarding the discharge summary so that I can force a level up and avoid getting doomed by the experience rule. But pain. And also, when I'm making those things as warts pushes me to the edge here, we're gonna do another one. You know what? Yeah, we'll do another one. Episode 200, no way I'm gonna make this a 10-minute video. Exceptions. But we will do the same run. Azal into Knight Errant with 3 custom mysteries. But I forgot what I was talking about. Anywho, moving on. This time we'll go hardware store. But keeping in mind, yeah, Knight Errant on top of Azal means a lot of Doom. That's your brute force monkey brain. Hey, this is what's happening. Charisma, knowledge, light check, second encounter, strength, and maybe Takshisan. But just assume I have the 2. I usually try to remember Takshisan and second encounter in my run if they're both together, even though I forget my second encounter. Anyway, it's nice to remember that I have those 2 checks at all. I'm pretty sure there's a very easy reason, as we have mermaids, flood, shuttle, auteur, and frogs. There's a very simple reason why. Hold on, I was looking at the Azal rule. There's very simple. I forgot what I was gonna say now. I'm going crazy. Help. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Let's sell the inspiring novel. I don't want to spend too much Doom here. I normally do sell the inspiring novel, but I just didn't last time. Monkey wrench. But let's move on. Oh, I really wanted to talk about what I forgot about, but it's what it is. -1 reason. I mean, a lot of the time you succeed and get 5 experience, so it's not the most insane thing to do, but so we'll store this energy drink for the moment. Period. That's the end of the sentence and the thought. Well, we can hop back on the topic of basically get. Oh, nice 12 roll, by the way, game. Not that I was gonna pass that with 2 knowledge, but hey. Also, keeping in mind that if we run into a ghost enemy, this is gonna be a very, 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 very painful run, especially if we have a boss ghost fight. But we don't currently have any mystery that causes that. In fact, there is a very prevalent mystery that has that, but no, I think that's a mini mystery from Haspin's Modpack, I believe. Anywho, was that? Why did I get that again? Each item in inventory. I'm going absolutely insane. But yeah, Knight Errant on top of that, so effectively we would have had 36% Doom right now, which is still a lot. So Flood or Auteur? We'll take Auteur now. 2 for each funds. We have 1 fund, and I need to remember to toss these in the into storage at a certain point. While we're here, though, we'll monument. Especially since we're going to enter Flood. And Flood is going to be low Doom anyway. It's just that I could have saved a lot more Doom had I not done what I did. High threat level Hospital, but then Village as well. At max threat level. And then Seaside at max, but there still aren't enough custom mysteries that take you to the Seaside. There are a few mysteries that take you primarily to the thingamajiggy, the Seaside a lot. For a lot of investigations, but hey. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, for World of War specifically, I would argue that, you know, if and it depends on the person as well. It's not like the same person is always going to, or it's not like, well, how do I want to say this? Or how should I say this? I think there's a smaller number of individuals who can be fulfilled just by watching other people play a game, as opposed to them playing the game. But I don't think it's a small minority either. I would say around like 30-40% can, if they want to. Also, we're taking the guaranteed stuff here, by the way. I think it's left into middle. But, yeah, on that note, for World of War specifically, there's not really... I mean, just to beat the tuna over the head with the point, yeah, it's not going to... Nice burn, by the way. Most players will not be fulfilled just by watching World of War. Now, there's a kind of fulfillment that is satisfied. I'm not going to deny that. But, just in general, like, will watching someone play World of War stop them from buying the game and therefore lose the people responsible for making the game, make them lose money? If you care about, if that's a huge concern, I would say no. That's the simple of it. And then, so, as we move on, so I kind of thought about this more as we didn't store these, by the way, otherwise we take a bunch of Doom. Yeah, as I play other games that don't seem to have a lot of content, or I can see that being a thing that people say for the moment. Even then, because one game is in early access and the other actually is quite a huge game with a lot of variability. Also, on that note, let's take one more point for World of War. Nice Doom, by the way. Is that World of War has custom content. So, as I've mentioned before, giving the ability for your player base to make mods for your game will add basically a kind of I'm like clenching my hand in real life, a treasured experience, a unique experience is what I want to say. Spell rule. A unique experience that can only exist for a player, if that makes any sense. And so therefore, again, if you're just watching World of War, you're watching it for a different reason, and you probably would have already gotten the game yourself. That being said, World of War is already a generally good game anyway, so it's not like people weren't going to get it. And this is more the topic of, I guess, losing sales specifically because people just decide to watch the game rather than buy and play it for themselves is... where was I going with this point? I'm going crazy. Yeah, I'm going crazy. Anywho, moving on. Would be nice to hit 2 of these. Yeah, I know, dog. It would be nice to hit these. Let's go. Let's find out. No, my goodness. 70%, by the way. I just want to let that sink in for a moment. That was probably like a 15-20% chance of happening. Really should have just done something like this, but I didn't expect to miss so much. So, yeah. I think these are going to be worse than the monkey wrench. Yeah, it is. So, school again. If we lose stamina, well, I guess that's just fate. Otherwise, we check the boxes and get something cool for it. I think you can get cigarettes from there, if I recall correctly. But anywho. Yeah, in World of War's case, it's a specific example. I mean, I'll just say the names. In Drapline, it's an early access anyway, so even though there might not seem like a lot of content, even just the genre of the game itself, it has replayability in itself anyway, in that you play runs over and over to get things, on top of the fact that you... I was thinking of whether or not I want to... Yeah, we're going to go for it. So I'm going to go into the village and try to grab a damaged researcher. But for Drop Line, you play it over and over and over again. There are different scenarios, and the game has the content that it does, and it's still getting... It's still yet to get more content, because obviously it's not complete. That's what I'm trying to say. And then for our Adventuring Guild, it's a totally customizable experience with the ability to at least add in like your custom appearances to your characters, which is another game that I was going to plan on making videos on. It's just that I'm focusing on Drapline as well. Not that that's a replacement. I'm probably going to be juggling 3 games, but I'm also busy with game development too, so... But anywho, none of those 3 games I mentioned, I think, are really replaceable in terms of, like, if someone wants to complain about... if someone wants to complain about... Let me just focus for a moment. Yeah, basically the topic of, aren't you hurting a game? Also, I forgot to store my items. I'm going absolutely insane. No! But, yeah. Jordan, aren't you hurting a game by... like basically feasting on it? That's what I should have opened up with. I don't think I mentioned it, but basically because I play games, I tend to stick to a few games at a time, especially in the case of World of Horror, and just play them. The topic does come up where it's like, oh, Jordan, aren't you hurting a game by playing it so much that it seems like you basically run through all the content and someone can just watch my videos? I don't think that's the case. Period. But again, it depends on the game, so it helps to speak about specific games. I already talked this video to death, figuratively, about World of Horror, but again, to mention the other 2 games that I'm planning to get on, and I will even throw in Uma Musume. We got warts again, by the way. I think we died to warts back to back, but to close out the thought, we won't cut this off, because special 200, I might as well continue the topic for the last 30 seconds. But yeah, I don't think it hurts anything. Uma Musume is basically content. You raise your own horses. So, I mean, that also fits into my kind of... the games I like to get into, where most of them, again, normally, are games with some kind of replayability. And then if not, like, I just come up with it on my own. I mean, that's not to say you can't... I mean, speedruns exist for linear story-based games as well. On top of the fact that you can just challenge yourself, because maybe it's maybe you only have 2 or 3 games and all of them are story-based games. Like, well, I don't want to just name examples here, but say they're story-based games, just play them over and over again, and even though there may not be many, quote-unquote, many ways to play through it, you can at least play through it faster. Maybe you limit yourself somehow. Maybe you just play it one-handed. I don't know. Again, I think being a content creator is... like self-indicative. Like, by nature, it's up to you to be innovative because you're creating content. But anyway, not much else to say. If you have anything to say, like any suggestions as to what you want to see me play, both in World of Horror and otherwise, let me know. Otherwise, I'll get back to game dev, and hopefully I'll finish something before Halloween. There is a 75% chance that I do, because boy, oh boy, I've been swerving left and right. But yeah, without further ado, thank you for watching. I won't take up much more of your time. Bye!